Good evening and welcome to the October 30th meeting of the Revere City Council. Will you all rise and salute the flag, please?
Roll call the members. Councilor Cogliandro.
Here.
Here, Councilor Morbido is absent. Councilor Novoselsky.
Here.
Here, Councilor Powers. Here. Here, Councilor Rizzo. Here. Here, Councilor Sereno.
Here.
Here, Councilor Silvestri.
Here.
Here, Councilor Visconti.
Here.
Here, Councilor Zambuto.
Here.
Here, and President Pro Temp McKenna.
Here.
Here, a quorum is present. Approval of the journal of the regular meeting of October 16th.
Barbara. All in favor? All opposed? So ordered. Accepted. Councilor Sereno.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to offer a point of personal privilege, and if I could just find my note that I made here. Hang on one moment. We as a City Council would like to take a moment to recognize and commend our colleague from Ward 3, Councilor Anthony Cogliandro, on winning two, not one, but two gold medals during the European Kempo Karate Championship in Rome a few days ago. He took first place in the men's black belt fighting competition. And according to Councilor Cogliandro, the event included international grading and some of the toughest competitors of American Kempo from all over the world. And it's like the Olympics in the karate Kempo space where the best of the best from each country represents their country on the world stage. So we all know how much the sport means to him. We congratulate him. So congratulations, and you made us proud. You made the city proud.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Councilor Cogliandro would like to say anything, please?
Just, you did your homework, Ricky. Holy cow.
Well, thanks to Melissa Randall in the Revere Journal. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
was all in the...
She's great. No, thank you. It was quite the experience, and you know, I'm getting old in that field, and I don't know how many more years I have left, but I'll continue representing my school and my city for as long as I can. So thank you for that, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor.
Calendar item number 3, motion presented by Councilor Zambuto that the Revere City Council award a certificate of commendation to Philip Emperado in recognition of his 90th birthday.
Councilor Zambuto.
So it is my distinct honor to recognize this distinguished gentleman of 90 years, Philip Emperado. We go back a long way. I'm going to try to read these notes, but I have some medicine in my eye, so my good eye is not with me. So I'm going to squint and try to read a few notes. Phil is a Korean War Army veteran, former store manager of a major chain for many years, I think about 20 years. Then he worked for the Department of Revenue for 30 years. Now, don't hold that against him, anybody like me that gets audited almost every year. I won't hold that against my friend Phil.
I was in the abatement bureau.
All right, see that? He was on the good side.
Your money.
He was giving you the money back. Okay, so that's okay then. So we honor that service too. Forgive me, I'm struggling here a little bit. He's been a member of the American Legion Post, 61 years. I know that's a record. I don't have the evidence in front of me, but I guarantee you that's a record, right, Mark? What's that? And Ira can vouch for it because he's been a member almost that many years, but not quite. Commander, 6 years, held every single office, I think, except Sergeant of Arms. By the way, this guy is a musician, a drummer for 52 years. And we didn't mention that his name is Phil Sticks Emperado. That's what he was known as. I remember going to see him play when I was a kid. That was a long time ago. 41 years, a member and officer of ITAMS. 41 years, a bartender between ITAMS and American Legion. Currently senior vice commander of the American Legion. There's 100 more accomplishments to go here, but I think the theme is that this gentleman just didn't go through these 90 years without doing an awful lot. And I've known him for many years. He was a dear friend to my father, so I hold him a special place in my heart. So I just want to congratulate, and I think we have a certificate that I have to read. Maybe I'll let my president, no, can't see either, okay. Okay, so forgive me. A birthday citation, an acknowledgement of the milestone of 90-year birthday. Special recognition is hereby given to Phil Emperado. The City Council of the City of Revere. Sorry, can't do it. Offers its sincerest congratulations. And Ashley's looking at me like, you should know all this. You've been here 20-something years. Anyhow, this certificate of commendation is presented by the Revere City Council, Revere, Massachusetts, on behalf of its citizens, this 13th day of October, in the year of our Lord, 2023, in the independence of the United States of America, 247. I'm sorry for my bad eye not being able to read, but congratulations to my dear friend, Phil Emperado.
Calendar item number 4, hearing called is ordered on a zoning ordinance establishing outdoor dining regulations for the city of Revere.
So we're going to start with proponents first. Anybody that's for this, please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, councilors. Tom Skrowski, Chief of Planning and Community Development, 281 Broadway. I'm presented in front of you tonight a series of zoning amendments, the most important one being the outdoor dining ordinance. And this was really a way for us as a city to formalize what's been happening in earnest since COVID, where many different restaurants expressed a need to obviously get outdoors in that previous public emergency we were under, and it was supported by different state regulations, most importantly the ABCC's extension of premise temporary granting, which will actually expire in April of this year, which offered a state-level approval for outdoor dining where they could basically bypass the state's licensing commission for serving alcohol. So what we want to do now as a city is create an ordinance that makes formal the allowance of outdoor dining throughout the city in public places. I'll let Claire Inzerillo, our policy analyst, get into that in more detail, but suffice it to say it was really a partnership between my office, the Department of Planning and Community Development, our business liaison, our transportation manager, our planning team, along with ISD, along with licensing, and of course, Claire as the policy analyst behind the whole project, really putting it all together. I think it's a reasonable set of regulations that put a lot of different checks and balances over the outdoor dining process, most importantly, site plan review and the licensing commission. And that's really the big change that we have in front of us tonight. There's a few other minor ones that I did want to note, because anytime we're making zoning changes, while we're under the hood, so to speak, we want to look at other inconsistencies or improvements that we want to make. And so there are 4 very minor ones, but worth noting, and I'd be happy to answer any questions on those if you have them. The first was related to pre-qualified lots. So there are certain lots in parts of the city that have a pre-qualified ability to develop on a smaller lot size. And the section in question basically carved out a series of requirements for a lot to be pre-qualified, most importantly that it was in place and vacant as of 1994, January 1st. But there are a series of other requirements. One of them stated that there could not be a structure on that pre-qualified lot. The amendment that we're proposing for you tonight makes 2 small tweaks to that. First among them is to exempt above-ground swimming pools from the consideration of a structure. And second,
Madam President,
Can we talk about
Point
outdoor
of order.
dining? Yeah, can we
Sure.
talk about outdoor dining? Thank you.
not exciting enough for you, I understand.
stick to the
But
restaurants.
suffice it to say, they're pretty minor details, the others, and I'd be happy to go through them in more detail if you want me to walk through them in more detail, but I'll pause there and let other folks speak on the outdoor dining component.
Thank you, Tom. Any other proponents that want to speak? Come on up to the podium, state your name and address, please, for the record.
Claire Inzerillo, 281 Broadway, second floor solicitor's office. Tom pretty much summed it up best. This was months in advance of planning. We worked with, as you mentioned, John Festa, Julie DeMauro. We got expertise in parking, transportation, what the small businesses needed, what was realistic to ask of them, and what was realistic to ask of the city to help them. And so all of these are going to be going to site plan, where they'll pass through ADA, through the Disability Commission, they'll go through fire prevention, police. We're going to be making sure the sidewalk is wide enough, and it's just not going to be a free-for-all that was kind of happening under the state's emergency guidelines. So this is a way to really put it in place so that these places can go through one rigorous process at the beginning, getting all their checks in, and then have the ability to open up every single summer and treat people to a nice outdoor dining experience in the city. So if you have any questions on language and why something's in there, I'm here. We also have Maggie from the Licensing Commission, who's really knowledgeable with the alteration of the license that will be taking place.
Thank you. Any more proponents that like to speak? Okay, we're going to close that side. Opponents? State your name and address for the record.
Ralph DeChico, Commission Disabilities ADA Coordinator. I'm not an opponent or a proponent. I just wanted to be able to speak on this. I would like to see something more added in the ordinance, because right now, how it's basically going, every application has to go to site plan and review to see if it meets stipulations. In other cities and towns, they have had issues with these outdoor dining because of the barriers around them. A lot of people, the stipulation, and I see it's going to be a case-by-case basis, but it's going to be cumbersome to do it that way. A lot of these outside dinings want to put these types of barriers, like you're seeing right here, around for outside dining. ADA will not allow that, and we should put that into the ordinance because of the white cane law. If somebody is blind and they're walking with a cane, their cane is on the ground. They do not, there's nothing as a barrier telling them that's there. They need a permanent barrier from the ground level to the height level. So I'm thinking that that should be put into the ordinance now, instead of us having to waste time and going side by side after. So that's the only stipulation that I see. I'm for the outside dining, but I really think that that should be put into it.
Thank you. We have to go to, we're in opponents right now, so we'll ask the questions later. Thank you. Any other opponents would like to speak? We'll close that side. City councilors? Any city councilors like to speak? Councilor Silvestri?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm for the motion. I just want to make sure that the issues that other cities seen behind like trash and pickup and stuff like that, that we're on top of those issues. Those are my biggest concerns. But other than that, I think it's something that we can help bolster and small businesses can benefit from. So I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Novoselsky?
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I have to agree with Mr. DeCicco. I had made notes even before he got up. Some of the sidewalks in the city are not as wide as others. And I have an issue with the barriers that people have been putting up. And they're also so far out into the sidewalk, it's actually not wide enough from the barriers out to the curb for an ADA person. I can use examples on Revere Beach Boulevard where they have trees and they have planters, and they're pretty far out into the sidewalk. And I would rather see no barriers in my neighborhood, because I have a lot of new restaurants now. I don't mind the tables, and I don't mind outside dining. I have an issue with barriers, and people in my neighborhood have not been using the barriers, and it's been working out very well. So I have an issue with the ADA access and anything dealing with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any of the councilors? Okay, we'll open it up to questions. Excuse me, Councilor Powers.
I, for one, do support the ordinance. However, Mr. Chico brings up a good point. Down on the boulevard, for instance, Renzo's, a few of the other restaurants, they have outside dining now. Some of those chairs and tables might infringe upon what a handicapped person would need to properly sit there and enjoy an evening. I know that on the boulevard, the DCR regulates what is sidewalk, what part of the sidewalk is theirs, and what part is part of the establishment. You know, we had that go on with Renzo's, I don't know, several years ago. That's what I would like to make sure happens, that the DCR does not allow, or the restaurants do not allow, their property to be utilized in a way that it infringes on handicapped people. So I'd like to make sure that that happens. And other than that, I think outside dining is good. It provides revenue to the city. It works, and people enjoy themselves. I see it every summer down on the beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Powers. And I hear Mr. DeCicco and Councilor Novoselsky's concerns loud and clear. I'm going to let Maggie Haney address the beach concerns, but really quickly, I just wanted to point out that state law trumps city ordinance 10 out of 10. So if we have the American with Disabilities Act and someone is in violation of that, that is automatically a problem. We can't let restaurants operate if their sidewalk is not wide enough pursuant to ADA. Nothing in our ordinance is going to trump what state law says. So if they're in violation, that's something we will immediately address right away. We feel when you're writing policy, the slogan is pretty much less is more. If the state already says you have to do something, there's no need for us to repeat that explicitly with language in the ordinance and further jumble our zoning. As you all know, our zoning is very complicated, very long, and at times contradictory. So we do not need to add in where ADA states very specific regulations. There's no need for us to add that. And we do take them on a case-by-case basis because I don't believe it would be fair to set really strict guidelines where some places have huge amounts of public space that they can utilize and they can easily put in an ADA compliant ramp or whatever setup they're going to present a site plan, whereas other restaurants, as you've seen, are really narrow. They've got tree stumps in the sidewalks, all those sorts of things where they can work with Frank Stringy and site plan, which you sit on, and you can advise them the best way to go about in creating a safe and welcoming environment for all patrons to dine safely. And I'm going to let Maggie address some of the concerns that you guys have about the beach properties.
Thank you. State your name and address from the record, please.
Hi, Maggie Haney, 281 Broadway in the License Commission Office. Claire is right in that we do, in the ordinance, they have written that all seating shall be covered by the Americans with Disabilities Act. So every rule in there, they can't have it if they're not abiding by it. As far as the beach goes, I know exactly the places you're talking about. This is kind of what this ordinance will help prevent. Because right now, it's a little bit of a Wild West out there because everything's been sort of under these emergency ordinances. DCR has been suspending their normal rules. If we have an ordinance, we can say, this is where you go. No further. You can't block the sidewalk. You can't make it so you're sort of winding around trees and making it difficult for people to get by with walking. Because site plan will have these rules, the License Commission will be able to restrict them, and we can enforce that. So hopefully that will help the problem. And you're right, some sidewalks are wider, some sidewalks are less. But again, that's what we're going to have all these rules about, to prevent people from taking over too much space. So
Thank you.
That helps.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Okay. We're going to refer this to zoning, November 13th, 2023 at 5 o'clock.
Calendar item number 5, hearing called is ordered on a zoning ordinance further amending the revised ordinances of the City of Revere relative to pre-qualified lots, signage, and driveways.
Okay, we're going to start off with proponents. Anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this? Come up to the podium. State your name and address for the record, please.
Tom Skorowski, Chief of Planning and Community Development, 281 Broadway. I thought they were all lumped together, which is why I was speaking on it before. So these are 4 minor changes we're just doing along with the outdoor dining ordinance, that we're clarifying some issues that are currently within the ordinance. One, on pre-qualified lots. As I mentioned, there are some things that are qualifications that you must follow in order to have a pre-qualified lot. One of them is that you can't have a structure, any structure on a lot for it to be pre-qualified. This carves out a few exceptions. This was done in consultation with Frank Stringy and our building department, looking at a few different areas where we felt like lots were unduly exempted from the process. The first of those being a small shed, less than 200 square feet. It seems inappropriate to call that a structure in the traditional sense. And secondly, above ground pools as opposed to a below ground pool. So if a lot has an above ground pool or a smaller than 200 square foot shed, it would still be pre-qualified with this change. The second is currently we have driveways must meet 8% slope. The standard across the Commonwealth, many different communities, is often 10%. This just meets in the middle. And then the third change and the fourth are both related to signage. The clause in question has a height limit of 30 feet that actually conflicts with another section of our signage ordinance that states the limit at 20 feet. This is just making it consistent across the board. And then the last one, this clause that we're proposing to remove is contradicted by the following clause regarding signage projecting from the facade of a building. Basically, it says, no sign shall project from the facade of the building, but then the next clause said, signs shall project no more than 25 feet. So it's, which is it? Are they allowed to project or are they not? And currently in practice, we have a lot of projected signs. We call them blade signs throughout the city. It's something we're looking to encourage through our sign and facade program, which we're working on both on Broadway and Shirley Avenue. So these are all just kind of consistency fixes to make sure that we're aligned across the ordinance. I'm happy to take any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Any other proponents that would like to speak on this? Okay, we're going to shut that side. Opponents? Any opponents that would like to speak on this? State your name and address.
John Stamatopoulos, 15 Soul Street. Clarity, will this impact the HD overlay areas?
He's not supposed to answer.
Can anybody answer?
That we don't answer. We'll answer at the end of the council.
Okay, assuming it does, and it potentially does, I already know what's going to happen. I have a property across the street from me that I was here to oppose several months ago. The person who owns it, it was blocked because it's in an HD overlay area. Okay, I know that person is actually building a home for someone on your zoning board now. So I believe this is going to set in motion the ability for a lot that was deemed undevelopable across the street from my home to be now developable. So that's all I'm looking for clarity on. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any other opponents? We're going to close that side. Councilors? Any councilors? Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I have no problem with us clarifying the city ordinances. But when something like this comes up, I would like to see it in the paragraph of where the change is, rather than remove this line, add that line. I'd like to see the whole paragraph in front of me, rather than me have to run through every page in the city ordinances to find each line and each chapter and each title and each paragraph. So I would like, when, I know it's going to go to zoning also, but I would like when it gets to zoning that each paragraph or title section that is mentioned in here, that we actually see the whole paragraph, the whole section, and highlighted in red or scratched out to show where the changes are, so we have a better feeling on what we're voting on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? Okay, Tom, can you answer his question for him?
Happy to do that when it goes back in front of the subcommittee. Frankly, as I'm explaining this to you with the one page, it makes my own head spin. So I think it's easier to see it. But what I would just do is track changes within a Word document so you could all see the, okay, I'm sorry. The other question as it pertains to HD lots, this would, without knowing the circumstances around why that lot was not deemed developable, it could impact that property. It is pertaining to lots in the HD and the LD zone, basically all those pre-qualified lots. The first section determines what is pre-qualified. So if that lot was deemed undevelopable because it had an above-ground pool on it, then with this change, that property would be deemed developable. Or if it had a shed that was 199 or less square feet. If it had a shed that was greater than that, or any of the other structures that are listed in that ordinance as making it unqualified, a gazebo, a canopy, there was a series of other structural terms that were used, a garage being another one, it would still not be qualified. It's just those two things, an above-ground pool and a shed that's smaller than 200 square feet. So provided that's what made it unqualified, then this would pertain to that, but without knowing all the information, I can't say for certain.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. So we're going to refer this to zoning, November 13th, 2023, at 5 o'clock.
Calendar item number 6, hearing called as ordered for the purpose of changing the name of Whitten Avenue Extension to Gibson Way pursuant to Section 12.04.020, street names of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere.
This is a public hearing. Proponents, anybody in favor of this, please come up to the mic. We're going to close that side. Opponents, anybody opposed to this change? Come up to the mic. We're going to close that side. City councilors? No city councilors? We're going to refer this to zoning, November 13th, I'm sorry. Excuse me? No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Council Powers, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
I'm not opposed to it. Just, I don't think it's a major. I said I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's a major issue.
Thank you for the note. So we can vote on this tonight, so a roll call. The members?
Pursuant to Section 12.04.020 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere, shall the City Council change the name of Whitten Avenue Extension to Gibson Way. Counselor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Morabito is absent. Counselor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Powers.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Rizzo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Sereno.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Visconti.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Zambuto.
Yes.
Yes, and President Pro Temp McKenna.
Yes.
Yes, the street name change has taken effect.
That has to do with.
Calendar item number 7, hearing called as ordered for the purpose of changing the name of Unity Ave to Brevity Way pursuant to Section 12.04.020, street names of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere.
We're going to start with proponents first. Any proponents? Anybody like to speak?
John Stamatopoulos, 15 Sewell Street. Proponent, love the Brevity family, grew up with the boys. I did get a call from somebody in the area that's not opposed to it, but they did express that they're concerned about having to change their license and their mailing address and other things, and didn't know if the city had any preparation for them. So that's all.
Thank you. Any other proponents? We're going to close that side. Opponents? Anybody against? Come on up to the mic, please. State your name and address for the record, please.
Mary Turner, 112 Brad Street Ave. I am against this motion because I think it presents a significant hardship to the residents and the business owner, specifically in regard to changing their address in multiple places such as their employment, banking, credit card companies, homeowners, car insurance, life insurance, medical insurance. Anyone who has ever moved in their lifetime, whether it be personal or business, can attest to the vast endeavor that is required to make these changes. There will also be challenges presented to law enforcement, fire, first responders, 911 operators, and the school department. It seems unimaginable to me to entertain any notion of removing the word unity anywhere in our city, given the state of division that this country is in right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any opponents? State your name and your address for the record, please.
Carol Ty, number 51 Endicott Avenue, born there 88 years ago and still living there. I am a Beachmont girl through and through, every part. And those of you who have been in Revere for a long time understand that. I think that this motion would put an enormous burden on the people there. And so I'd like to enhance a little bit about what Mrs. Turner said. First of all, have you tried to change your driver's license recently? Well, I did. And it is far more difficult than it ever was. So they would have to change their driver's license. They would have to inform Social Security. If they have a passport, that would have to be changed. If they had a green card or were on the way to citizenship, they would have to do that. They would have to change every credit card they have and any in-store discount card that they had, such as BJ's. Every bank card they might have. And maybe worst of all medical and dental records, because they would have to go to Medicare, maybe Medicaid, their dental insurance, Dental Blue, or any of those, and all hospital cards, for example, from Tufts, or from Mass General, or from any one of those. In pharmacies, everywhere, they would be tremendously inconvenienced. Now, I don't see what a benefit this would be to any other Revere residents. I would say that there might be a more fitting one. We've been talking about the island in the middle of the street there. Well, we can never have too many flowers. Why not a privacy garden right there that people could look at and enjoy? And that would provide something right across from the liquor store, which would be beneficial to us. That seems to be a fitting tribute. I stand against inconveniencing our citizens that way. I know it is not a huge, long street, but it surely is a street that represents, at least in theory, something that I wish we had more of, not only right in this very room, but in other places. And the name of the street, as Mrs. Turner noted, is Unity. And I believe that that name was given to that street because of what it represented and what a goal would be for all of the people in Beachmont. And I think it is fitting that we work as hard as we can for that goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other opponents? We're going to close that side. City councilors. Councilor Visconti.
Thank you, Madam President. Since I am the maker of the motion, I'm a big proponent of the motion. And I first want to say that, and make note that the Previty family did not know about this. They didn't come to me about it. It was something that was presented to me by a Beachmont lifelong, and I would love to take credit for it, to be honest with you, because like my friend John Stampatopoulos said, they are a great family, and they did so much for the Beachmont community. But that being said, so I would love to take credit for this, but unfortunately I can't, because another prominent Beachmont family came to me with this request, and I thought about it, and I said, what a great way to reward a great family that did so much for the Beachmont community, many, many years of things that they've done. I remember working there when I was 12, 13 years old, and I remember Old Man Previty, and I mean the Old Man Previty, giving out food to the local residents, people that were having difficult times, and just giving away food at the butchery. And then you go to the front of the store and you see his son, John Previty, also allowing people of that community the ability to actually go purchase things, purchase necessity, home necessity, on credit. Okay, on credit. And just based on and letting them go and letting them buy that stuff just on their word. That doesn't happen these days anymore, unfortunately. So I think while I'm quite surprised of the opposition, I'll be honest with you, I think it's a perfect opportunity, okay, to say thank you for the long, deserved effort that that family did to the Beachmont community. And I feel I'm quite surprised of the opposition here tonight, to be quite honest with you. So I am very much in favor of this, and I hope my colleagues really feel the same way. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Silvestri?
Thank you, Madam President. Is there anyone that lives on Unity Ave here tonight? No? That's why I was asking if any of them were here. That's why I was asking, I don't know. I asked that because I stand here and I think that it's a very positive motion, and without opposition from the street, I don't see how we stand in the way of it tonight.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sereno?
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I was just going to say basically what Councilor Silvestri said. You know, the residents who spoke, Brad Street Ave, Endicott Ave, Sewell Street, you know, big Beachmont people, but no residents of Unity Ave. And I think there were only, when I Google mapped it, I think there were only 3 houses or 4 houses at most. And, you know, I think the Previty family, I don't know the Previty family personally, but in talking with older Revere people, even in my own family, about the Previty's market and stuff, they were a staple in the community for years. So without opposition, I hope we vote on it tonight, and I look forward to 100% voting for it. I don't think it's a major issue at all. We just had another name change of a street, and nobody opposed that name change on any basis. So, you know, I don't understand the anger. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Zambudo?
Thank you, Madam President. I think we all know the history of the Previty family, and I too was shocked at the opposition to this. However, I don't see a big hardship. There's a couple of houses on the street. I think that to honor this family for the things they've done over the years, and we heard a couple of the little things like the credit and the giving food away, and I remember in my own neighborhood where I grew up, we had a store like that where they did the same thing. When people were in need, that's what we did. We took care of them. And I'm 100% in favor of this change, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Rizzo?
Thank you very much, Madam President. I totally understand. There's a couple of points that were made that have not been lost on me. You know, the whole notion of unity. You know, I'm sure that whenever that street was named and whoever named it was with a purpose. So I like totally understand that. And also there is hardship of some sorts when, you know, their street name is going to change. So there'll be things that have to change for the people that live on that street. And I was told early on that there was only a couple of houses. I don't know, Councilor Sereno, you said 3 homes. Okay.
Did anybody notify them?
No.
Anybody tell them that this was going to come up?
She's out of order.
Well, I mean, you know, people, you know, I'll just say this, because I see it every day in my own business. People move all the time, and they, you know, with moving comes changing addresses for all kinds of different things. People move. in and out of the city and so on. So, there's always going to be address changes. I would just say this, where there is some unexpected opposition here, I don't think it's an emergency motion. Maybe as was just said, I don't know if we talk to the people there or just have a further conversation about it. It wouldn't bother me to put it in committee for our next meeting. But that's entirely up to you. If you want to vote on it tonight, I'll vote on it, but,
Madam President, I would prefer to vote on, we voted on the last one. I'd prefer to vote on this one as well. Thank you.
There's nothing down at Gibson Park.
yeah, I think I am.
I would like to speak from the chair. Do I have permission? Okay. So I'm old. I guess I'm old because they say, well, I don't remember because, we talk to older people. But I can remember my mother and father. My mother and father didn't have much. They didn't have a lot of money. My father was a school teacher. My mother worked at Stop and Shop. My mother would go down there to feed 3 kids. She would go down there and she would have a layaway plan. And she would go down there and she'd say, Joanna, will you go down and get 3 pounds of hamburger? And I'd go down and I'd say, where's the money? No money. My father would pay for it either monthly or weekly. I don't remember. It wasn't the cleanest place to go. The father always had this big cigar in his mouth and the ashes would fall everywhere. He always had blood all over his apron. But they fed Beachmont. They fed Beachmont. They employed kids, local kids, to work there. They fed Beachmont. There was a layaway plan, which was never heard of before. And I just think it's, people deserve to be honored. Whether it's 30 years ago, if it's yesterday, but people, if they did something for the community, especially Beachmont, which we all love, I think they deserve it. And I think Ms. Ty's idea of having a planter across the street is wonderful, but I think where they own the whole block, and they do own all those houses, and they own the whole block, I think it's a fitting honor to name the street Previty Way. Thank you.
Roll call.
Councilor Powers?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm very familiar with the area. Came from the Julia Ward House School and the Mary T. Rowland School, and I frequented that area many times. I also very familiar with the Previty family. John Previty, I had a business downstairs next to him, and I probably saw him 2 or 3 times a day. And I think, there are questions here. Is this going to affect anyone's Social Security? Is it going to affect their, this mail or that mail? I think Councilor Rizzo makes a good point. Why do we have to rush this through? Why can't we just wait till the next meeting, put it in committee, get some information as to why, what is there, what type of an area is, or an island in the middle of the street? Is that something that could be dedicated for him? I'd like to put this in committee. I make a motion tonight that we put this in committee.
I was on a roll call, and then you gave him leeway, so you do what you want to do here, but
Well, I think it's the will of the council. If there was a roll call on the floor first, then I'd say we do a roll call first.
All right, go ahead.
Roll call?
Roll call?
What are we voting on now? The amendment?
If we should change the street or not.
Oh, okay.
Pursuant to Section 12.04.020 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere, shall the City Council change the name of Unity Avenue to Previty Way. Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morabito is absent. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
No.
No. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And President Pro Tem McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the street name has been changed from Unity Ave to Previty Way. Calendar item number 8, hearing called as ordered on the application of 465 Revere Beach Boulevard Realty Trust, 24 Bellingham Ave, Revere, Mass., seeking permission from the Revere City Council to modify and alter an existing non-conforming 5-unit apartment structure by constructing an additional 6 units to enable the appellant to develop an 11-unit apartment structure and providing 17 off-street parking spaces at 465 Revere Beach Boulevard.
This is a public hearing. We're going to start proponents. Proponents, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the City Council. My name is Attorney Larry Simeone with law offices at 300 Broadway, Revere, Massachusetts. This evening, I represent 465 Revere Beach Boulevard Realty Trust. There are 3 trustees, Marlene Cronin, Ramona Giuffre, and Raymond Giuffre. I believe that they're all citizens and live in the city of Revere. This particular special permit was seen by this honorable body back in December of 21st and was voted at that time. So I'm going to make a very brief review because this council is well aware of this project, these people, and what they voted on almost 2 years ago. And the only reason why we're before you is because as you reach 2 years, the license or the special permit is terminated and lapses. So we're asking here to extend that 2-year period for another 2 years, so to speak. The special permit is being asked for. It's in accordance with 1740-030B. Essentially, it is a special permit to modify a non-conforming structure. And here, the modification would be to an existing structure that's owned by the family. That structure is 5 units. It's RC1 district. It's on Lot A and B at 465 Revere Beach Boulevard. It sits on 10,715 square feet and has approximately 46.6 frontage. Having sought your honorable body's review and approval before, I just want to point out that no changes have been made. We're bringing the entire package before you. You've got the package, you've got the previous decision, and here what we've done is you gave us two bedrooms, each having 1.75 parking spaces, and then 9 one-bedrooms for a total of 11 units, 17 parking spaces for which we comply. And as I said before, I know we'll be going to subcommittee. I asked the council to understand that these individuals are trying to keep the property. They're trying to do it from themselves. They're not giving it to developers. And so it's taken a little longer, for them to understand the process and go forward. I'll answer any questions the council has, Madam President.
We're still in proponents. Any other proponents? Okay, we're going to close that side. Opponents, anybody opposed? Come on up. State and push the button.
Allison Humphrey, 474 Revere Beach Boulevard. Basically, there's a home there, and they want to turn it into like a mini-size high-rise. There's enough of these high-rise on the boulevard that we're starting to look like Miami Beach. And so you're going to have umpteen units, more cars, more traffic, and then the people that are on that side of the breakers, they're going to lose their view, what they paid for when they bought their place. So I just don't see another building like that going up. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Opponents? State your name, address.
Hi, Luann Miola, 474 Revere Beach Boulevard. I live on the 4th floor there, and I'm looking at what Allison said. If I look out my window, this is all I'm going to see. As it now, I only see the Jack Sada house. I don't see beyond that. Why don't he put this in his own backyard? Why is it gotta be in ours? This is getting out of hand now. I asked everybody to vote no on this. Don't let this guy do this. I mean, you want our votes when election day comes. Let's get him in his own backyard. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other opponents? Okay, we're going to close that side. City councilors. Councilor Silvestri.
Yes, Madam President. I just want to make it clear that we this was voted in favor over 2 years ago. A permit ran out on the property. It's not like we're just voting in favor on this. I think it would be unjust to go on and tell a developer after we've already approved them to say, no, we're not going to move forward.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sereno.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, through you to
Councilor Sereno.
Through you to the attorney. I do remember this 2 years ago, and if I'm not mistaken, can you clarify that we worked with the abutters? At first, it was quite a hideous development that was proposed, and it was refined and worked on, and I believe it had the buy-in of the abutters of the property. Am I mistaken? Am I confusing it with
My
another?
memory is that we had very little opposition by the neighborhood. If you look at the particular showing of the plan that I have, you'll see that on the right-hand side of this proposal, there's a couple of houses. It's not up against the high-rise known as the breakers. On the left-hand side, it also has a particular higher structure than ours. And then there's structures after that. Its modification is going to add very little in the way of bulk of building as well as height. The existing structure, as you can see, is already almost 2.5 stories. So at the time when we presented it, we went through an egregious process with the fire department over, ways and so forth. There were several conditions established with respect to what floors would have the top floors and not be able to in any way block. They made us relocate two particular units at the 5th floor. They required us to have pedestrian walkway on the other side. They required us to have to reduce the building expansion proposed and making sure that the fire department had complete access to get around the building, which was really difficult. So we met the parking requirement, and at the time, we worked very hard and long with the council, the subcommittee on zoning, and the site plan review committee. And ultimately, this council saw fit to allow these people to go forward.
I remember that, Madam President, thank you. I remember that, and I remember they made concessions with regard to parking in the driveway and all of that, right? We went through this.
Absolutely.
That's right. And I'll have to go back, but I don't believe there were residents who were opposed. Or they might have been opposed at first, but then the developers worked with the abutters.
Right.
And so I support this. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Silvestri.
Thank you for the leeway, Madam President. And I just wanted to clarify, Councilor Sereno is absolutely correct. Actually, both neighbors came up, and one of the neighbors was very adamant, and he wanted to make sure that as long as the building was up to code and all the handicap was accessible, and he came and spoke at the meeting 2 years ago, who was a neighbor to the property. So that's why I feel as though we should stand with this. If it was a new project, I could see us fighting it, but where we approved this 2 years ago to go back against, I think it would be a bad look. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to make it clear that this is going to my zoning subcommittee for the 13th of November. And any opposition, please come then. This is not a rubber stamp. It's not an approval of the existing permit. It may get approved, but not without input from everybody that's speaking against it tonight. So you please note that the 13th of November, there will be a zoning subcommittee on this special permit, because that's what this is. And I just want to make that clear to everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors? So we're going to close that side. We're going to refer it to zoning, November 13th.
Hold on, please.
I'm
I'd like to
sorry.
speak. It's my ward.
Counselor Powers, I give you
I
apologies.
remember very clearly this case here, and there was a lot of back and forth on it. However, this council did approve it. My question is, why is the proponent waiting 2 years to decide he's going to build now? Is there a question here? Is there a problem here? I agree with Councilor Zambudo. I'd like to see this go to committee, and I'll make my decision at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Madam President. Just for clarity, what was the original date of the approval when this was originally approved? So I was not here. Thank you.
Any other counselors? Counselor Visconti.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Attorney Simeoni, can you just explain to us what was the reason? Again, why is it taking 2 years to start construction? And is this going to happen again, is what probably the council's concern is. Is there an issue that we're not aware of that's not brought to our attention?
Through you, Councilor Visconti, through the president, to you. No, I basically told you what it is. I mean, they're working with family, trying to build it themselves. They own this property and has owned it for many, many years. They intend to own the existing property and occupy it with some residents and then family again. There's no flip to sell it to anybody. These are Revere residents who basically wanted to improve the property that they had. The property, I said, was 5 units, and they've added 6 units and a substantial amount of money in design and input. I think, without question, the council was very satisfied with the artistic value and the design that was done, and I know the fire department ultimately was very happy. So, and the site plan review wrote another letter saying that they were happy. So, yes, it took a lot of work. It's a small project, but it took a lot of work, and I think the only thing that is holding them up now is, finding the particular project that they can finance. I mean, it's not a commercial project; it's a family project, and they've got a couple of good contractors, and some of this was going on during COVID, and that didn't help either. So it's a delay of it's just they're working on it themselves. It's not a business deal for them. It's a family project. I apologize for them, and I know they're trying very hard, and they don't want to upset the council in any way or anybody, whatever, because they're good people, and they've lived in the Revere and Beachmont area for many, many years.
Thank you, Counselor. Come up to the mic and speak.
Thank you.
We have another one speaker.
Thank you for letting me speak one
You're
more time.
welcome.
Why, I have to clarify something. Why were we all given notices to be here tonight? Because they want to add an additional 6 units. Yes, I was here 2 years ago because we got notices to be here 2 years ago. I was here in 21. What's the problem now? We don't want the added units, so why are they being added? I mean, why is this going to zoning? This should just be voted no. We got enough problems down there. This man lives in Beachmont. Let him build it in his backyard. Seriously, we got enough problems on the beach. I'm not going to be able to see beyond. I'm on the 4th floor. You look at that thing, 5th floor. You can see a little bit out on the 6th floor, and then up, we only have 11 floors too. I don't understand. Why do we have to be here tonight? Why did we all get notices? Can somebody explain that to us? Because you took time out of my time tonight to be here. I don't want that building. Whatever you voted on in 21, let that be. You don't have to add to it. I've been there 29 years, Joanne. I own there. Are these rentals or are these going to be owner occupied? What
Madam
is the
President?
purpose here?
Madam-
We don't even know that. And if they're going to be renters, they need to stop.
Councilor Cogliandro.
My apologies, I didn't mean to interrupt you, ma'am. Through you to Attorney Simeoni, so you're adding 6 units now? I just want clarity on that point.
So just to be clear, we have not changed one thing on the special permit that you people approved, you, Councilor Cogliandro, you approved back in December of 2021. The permit hasn't expired yet, but it will expire in December of 2021 if we don't get an approval.
So the FAR is not changing, there's no footprint change, there's nothing changing
Absolutely.
from the original?
Not one thing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other councilors? Okay, we're going to close this side. We're going to refer this to zoning November 13th, 2023 at 5 o'clock.
Calendar item number 9, hearing called as ordered on the application of 1784 Holdings LLC, Scottsdale, Arizona, requesting a special permit from the Revere City Council to enable the appellant to operate a self-storage facility located within the IP district at 195 American Legion Highway.
Okay, we're going to open this up to proponents. State your name and address, please, for the record.
May I just get, my name is Larry Beals. I'm with Beals Associates. My address is 2 Park Plaza in Boston.
Thank you.
I have a PowerPoint that I'd like to get operational, if I may. Oh, I'm looking at myself up here and I realize it's behind me. I also have handouts of this PowerPoint, if that would be helpful for people to have to refer to. No, this is the PowerPoint that we're presenting tonight. Did I come up short? I think that's it. No.
Can you email that to me then?
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're here for a special permit for use. And this is a project that you can see. It's being proposed on a site on American Legion Highway, 95 American Legion Highway. It's currently an auto repair facility, a contractor's yard, and a gas station. So the image on the left-hand side of your pages or on the PowerPoint on the screen is the existing conditions today. And then the image on the right is what we hope to build if we can get a special permit for the use. What I'd like to do tonight is give you a perspective on the agenda. I can move through it as quickly or as slowly as quickly. Okay. So why don't I just skip this slide and I'll get going. And I think the one thing I want to point out is that we're developing a storage facility, and our client has a reputation and a business plan of building high-quality facilities. So these aren't the typical ones that you see along the highway. They're intended to look more like office buildings. And we think it's particularly important at this location because we're right across from a school. We've met with the Conservation Commission. They've approved the wetland boundary. We met with the ZBA. ZBA granted a few variances, and we have site plan review committee, which we'll move on to if we're successful tonight with a special permit. Now, to orient people, I'm sure everybody knows where this site is, but if you look at this picture on the right-hand side is Revere Beach and the ocean. The big square in the center of the site with the black color to it is the Amazon building. And we've outlined our site in purple right in the center of the site. And across American Legion Highway is Rumney Academy. Going up in scale, so that was an overview. We've gone up in scale now. The school is on the left-hand side, Amazon is on the right-hand side, and the proposed redevelopment site is right in the center of this picture. So this is what it looks like today. It is a site that's managed for a variety of different uses, automobile repair, gasoline retail sales, and contractor's yard. So there is traffic on and off of the site. The yellow canopy is the covering for the gas pumps. And you can see on the right-hand side all of the contractor's equipment lined up on that yard. And this is what we're proposing to do. So we believe it's a substantial improvement for a couple of things. Architecturally, we believe it looks pretty nice. These are architecturally designed facilities. We're maintaining a buffered green space in front of the building. The fence is intended for security purposes, but we'd much rather have a decorative fence rather than a chain link fence the way they normally do on these types of facilities. And this is just another perspective out of it. This would be moving up American Legion Highway and looking back at it. Right now, there's no landscaping between the building and the roadway. The way we've designed this facility, and we think this is a pretty good way to operate them, is there is a pass-through in the building. So you can drive right through the center of the building. And what that facilitates is a place for people to load and unload storage material, which they're putting into the facility. We have had input from the planning department, police, fire, and as you can see, right now there's a couple of broad curb cuts where people flow on and off the site, and we're going to shrink that down to a single point of access, and we've got access all the way around the building. So in this image, the brown colored area is the actual footprint of the building, and the gray is the pavement. So you can see that it circulates around the building. This was the zoning compliance summary that we presented to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And I'm getting close to the end. The purpose of your special permit is to in harmony with the general purpose. And I think compared to what is currently there today, this is a better landscape facility, a lot less traffic. It's a quiet facility. People come to these facilities quite infrequently, and we think it's a pretty good use for this property, particularly when compared to other potential uses that could happen on this site. It's an appropriate site location. Access is on and off of American Legion Highway, and it's an allowed use here, provided we're granted a special permit. We do have adequate public sewage and water. These facilities do not demand much water or do not produce much sewage. We think it's a positive impact on the neighborhood. It'll mirror the school across the street. It's quieter, it's better landscaped, and we think it's adequate and appropriate facilities for this type of use. So I hope that was fast enough. Happy to answer any questions anyone may have. Okay.
Any proponents? State your name and address, please.
My name is Vin Conti. I've been working at 195 American Legion Highway at Vin's Auto Patriot Depot. My family's been there since '61, and we are in favor of this project. I do have some offense to Larry knocking my landscaping. I planted those rose bushes in front of that building 30 years ago, and but this does look beautiful. I think it's a positive thing for the city. The city is changing. We need these facilities. We've got all these apartments, condos, everything, housing. People need stuff to put things away, and I think it's a good thing for the city.
Thank you very much. Any other proponents? Okay, we're going to close that side. Opponents? Anybody who'd like to talk against this? Okay, we're going to close that side. City councilors? Councilor Cogliandro?
Thank you, Madam President. I think this is a great use for this site. I think I can speak for all of us when I say I'm glad it's not an apartment building. It's going to make this look phenomenal. It's going to mirror, like you said, it's going to mirror the Rumney Marsh Academy. They're going to have a very similar look. The landscaping is going to look great. Also, the developer has agreed to clean that land all the way back to the fence line of Stowers, Tuttle, Bryant, Waite. Everything over there is going to be cleaned up, and that's my favorite part of this project, to be honest. A lot of trash over there, and so I appreciate the communication and the openness, and I think this is going to be a great project. I'm fully in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sereno?
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, through you, to my good friend from Ward 3, I wish I could be totally on board. However, I have to be honest, although it is an improvement for the site, generally speaking, I'm concerned that all we seem to get are residential and storage facilities. So in Ward 6, in my ward, on Charger Street, we have, before I was elected, they were approved. We have one, and then one is getting built, so that's a second one. We have one on Lynn Street. We have one on Revere Beach Parkway. I feel like we could attract more than just storage facilities and apartment buildings and residential, and I look forward to hearing more in the zoning subcommittee, but my first impressions is I'm not totally thrilled about this. And that's with all due respect to Mr. Conti. The Conti family is a Ward 6 family, but I have my reservations, and it seems like it's a rather large building, especially if the high school's going across the street there. It just, I don't know, it's just too big, I think. But I will wait to see what we do in zoning. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Silvestri?
Thank you, Madam President. How many units will be inside this? I'm sorry if I missed that.
It's in the application. I think it's about 100. I can look it up for you.
100 storage units, that's it?
I'm not absolutely certain. I'll see if I can dig that out.
That's a huge building. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Novoselsky?
Thank you, Madam President. Sir, how high is the building? How many floors?
It's 5 stories.
5 stories. So is there an elevator in there?
Oh, yes.
Will there be vehicle storage in there?
No.
Nothing inside? How about outside?
No storage outside, because that pavement that we looked at is necessary for fire protection.
Yeah. Boats? No boats?
No.
Well, the only thing I'm going to throw out there is what we've spoken about before, about checking with the city planner about that 200-foot easement, as we want to call it, non-written easement that, I'd like to check with Frank Stringy on.
Sure.
For some reason, it sticks in my mind there was a 200-foot space between the original toll manufacturing when it was built back then and the residences towards Revere Street, that they wanted some space in between. So I want to check on that and see if that's still in effect or if that was part of something. I know the clerk did find a temporary easement for construction purposes back then, but for some reason that 200-foot space it sticks in my mind, so I want to check on that, but I'm glad this is going into zoning. Thank you.
Councilor Powers?
Thank you, Madam President. I look at this building and I imagine to myself what could go there, how many apartments they could put there. And it makes this look, more favorable every day. I met with a fellow named Paul Nealand maybe 8 years ago, and that's when the Bell Oldsmobile, the old auto sale place there, was a mess. There was a hop and skip jump through there. It was crazy. Mechanics working privately and doing everything they wanted to do down there. And then so we developed Wonderland, which was a good thing. If you look at it today, you've got 20 buildings in there, 20 businesses rather. You've got the registry of motor vehicles. And the other day, we just did channel development, the Starbucks, another positive thing down there. I look at this and I say, this is everything positive we want. We don't want any more apartments down there. We want commercial business. And that's what we got the other day with the Starbucks, commercial, providing jobs for people, bringing that 0.75% revenue into the city on the meals tax, things like that. These are good things. So I want to see this in zoning. I want to see more, but I'm looking at it, and it looks very, very nice to me right now as a potential business. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Councilor
you.
Powers. Councilor Rizzo?
Thank you very much, Madam President. Personally, this is if you just look at the front page, the contrast between, it's been a well-respected, well-regarded gas station, mechanic shop for a long, long time. In fact, the owners are very, very dear friends of mine. But, I think they've done a great job attracting this developer to put a beautiful building up like that. I was just telling Councilor Serino, we're not going to have to educate any kids out of here. I would doubt we're ever going to have any first responders that are going to have to come here, at least not too often. I don't have a problem with it at all. We're getting away, and I think Councilor Powers might have alluded to this, from the apartment buildings. Every time something comes down, an apartment building seems to be going up, and I've been talking about this now for 6 months. We need to get away from that. We can't be constantly, every time something comes down, an apartment building goes up. We can't go down that road. So for me, I think this is going to be a great addition. Taken, not that you'd have a ton of traffic coming in and out of the gas station there, but it'll be even that much less coming onto an already crowded American Legion highway. So I think this is a nice addition. It'll be on the commercial tax rolls, so we'll be getting, we'll continue to get the commercial taxes as we are in its current state. So as it stands right now, and I understand it's going to zoning, but as it stands right now, barring any unforeseen situations, I would absolutely be a proponent of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Visconti?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a quick question. Is the Conti family developing this, or are they selling the land to a developer?
The land is under agreement, and our client is a...
Who is the client?
It's 1784 is the name of the company. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona, and it's a company that has developed these facilities across the country. One of the things that draws them to Revere is the demographics of how many apartments there are. Generally, apartment dwellers demand used storage facilities, so there's a tremendous need. It's a well-funded, so the relationship with the Conti family is the property's under agreement upon receipt of the permit.
Special permit.
Yes.
Is that what it is, under agreement per the special permit getting approved?
Well, we need conservation, we need all the permits.
Yes, all the permitting.
Once
yeah.
we have all the permits, then they'll close and start construction.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Zambudo?
Thank you, Madam President. Everybody knows the Conti family and knows what wonderful people they are and how they've been a great business for, I don't know how many years here, but as many as I can remember. And listen, the gas station is a nice gas station, and the repair shop is a nice repair shop. But the contrast, and I think if I was the marketer and I drew this up, the contrast on the front page here is a winner. So you're going to go from this to this. You're going to clean up the area completely. I think it's a no-brainer, and it's not apartments. And it mirrors the high school across the street that will be there, and it mirrors the Rumney Marsh Academy. I think it's a perfect fit, and it cleans up an area that it's time to be cleaned up. So I'm certain, I'm the zoning chairman, and I'm going to preside over this with an impartial, discerning eye, but at the look of this, it's a good project. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors? Okay, we're going to refer this to zoning, November 13th, 2023, 5 o'clock.
Calendar item number 10, hearing called is ordered by National Grid to install underground conduits beginning at a point approximately 100 feet south of the center line of the intersection of Walnut Ave and Beach Street, and continuing at approximately 30 feet in the east direction. This is through the sidewalk near 38 Walnut Avenue.
Proponents,
Good evening.
state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Rafael Kerguelen. I'm representing National Grid, 160 Medford Street in Malden.
Thank you.
We are here talking about 3 different projects. The first one is the 30851A12. We're asking on petition to install an underground conduit and cable in North Shore Road to feed a new building that it is already built. First one, the Walden. Okay, sorry. Yes, sorry. In this case, we are proposing to install a pole in the sidewalk in front of 37 Walnut Ave, and at the same time to installing an underground conduit, 4-inch conduit crossing the street, the Walnut Ave, and installing a sidewalk box.
Okay, thank you. Proponents, any other proponents? We're going to close that side. Opponents? We're going to close that side. City councilors, Ira?
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, to you, to the councilors, basically what's happening here is there's a new building going up at 38 Walnut Ave, and they're doing a proposed new pole, which will be coming up in the next public hearing. And from that new pole, it'll be going underground to that new facility at 38 Walnut Ave, which is right next to the Hyman Towers. So it's basically feeding 38 Walnut Ave power without going overhead from the 2 poles on either side of the proposed pole. We want to get the closest location to the feed. So I have no problem with this. Thank you.
Any other councilors? Councilor Rizzo?
Yeah, I just have one question. It seems like whenever National Grid or one of the public utility companies comes up, somebody brings it up. Typically, it's not me, but I just happen to think of it because this is an underground conduit, correct? So, I know we've got an ordinance on the books, and it's supposed to work, but it seems as though anytime a public utility digs up our roads, there's a constant problem afterwards. There's trenches that are there. The roads are never the same. I hear it time and time again across the city. Whatever the ordinance is now, and I can't recite it off the top of my head, but I will just say this, it needs to be strengthened, in whatever form that it's currently in right now, because people that live here, I understand you have a job to do, and this obviously isn't directed at you. You're not, jackhammering in front of the house or, but people in this city deserve a certain quality of life. And I don't think it's a stretch to say they should have a decent roadway to come home after a long day of work. Or, in the case of when sidewalks are dug up for some reason, that, people should have a tripping hazard there. So it would be my intention, God willing, going forward, that we are going to strengthen the ordinance to make sure that if there's any work done by any public utility companies, that they will be held accountable to put that roadway back in the same condition that it was. Because it's not fair to the people who live here. We understand that we need services, whether it's gas, electric, water, all that. We understand that. But it shouldn't come at the expense of people's well-being and their ability to get in and out of their homes or home from work. So I just want to say that it's not going to hold up my vote on this project, but something needs to be done to strengthen this ordinance, and it would be my intention to absolutely look into that and make sure that we do, because it's gone on for far too long. This does not happen in other communities. Other communities do a tremendous job at holding public utilities accountable. We're not doing so good, but I know we're going to do better. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Counsel. Councilor Zambudo?
Thank you, Madam President. I agree with my colleague that I'm for strict enforcement. I mean, there's no excuse for not leaving the road at least in the condition it was in, or if not better. And but the one thing I'm not going to do tonight or any other night is hold up the progress of National Grid. These things need to be approved. We got to move forward. I'll happily work with Councilor Rizzo or anybody that wants to strengthen the ordinance. I'll be right out front with it. But I'm not looking to hold up any of these tonight. Thank you.
Councilor Silvestri?
Thank you, Madam President. This is actually just for a question while you're up here. I know my address is 100 Shirley Ave. I know 60 Shirley Ave is waiting on a transformer to be put in line. And it's been waiting for, I think the building's been up and done since the beginning of the summer, and there's still no power to the building. Do you know how long that possibly could be taking to do, or?
Thank you for the question. Actually, we were talking about that project today, and I can call you back and ask, because I'm not the actual designer, but I'm thinking that it's going to be soon, because I know that it's going to take so long.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Novoselsky?
Thank you, Madam President. A couple of things regarding to some of my colleagues. First of all, I did speak to the gentleman about the transformer at 60 Shirley Ave. Unfortunately, it's not his department, but they are working on it. He is aware of it, and hopefully real soon it'll be taken care of. We know that transformer is an important part for that building. The second part is regarding the city ordinance. City ordinance, we had paved this street last year, and the city ordinance requires that anybody that digs up a street within 5 years, or actually they're not supposed to dig up a street within 5 years, but 2 new buildings were built on that street. So actually the developer is responsible for paving that street over and above what National Grid is going to do. So that's something that site plan review is going to have to deal with the developer for those 2 buildings at 38 Walnut and 100 Shirley Ave. And National Grid does provide funding for repaving depending on what they're doing. So we do get some kind of funding from National Grid towards the repaving of a street. So just so you know, that's the current status on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? Councilor Powers?
Thank you, Madam President. And this has been going on for years. and it's no reflection on yourself. It goes more to National Grid. When they're doing work in the city, many times they use private contractors. In fact, I'd say most of the time they use in private contract when they're trenching or something like that. And I made a suggestion about 2 or 3 years ago that anybody that digs up a trench in this city should be made to put up a bond of some type so that we can have somebody on duty in the city, whether it's paid on a per diem or a full-time employee, that when you dig up these streets, somebody from that person would have to get down and make sure, number one, that the proper fill is being used, and number two, that the grading and the trenching is measured to specifications.
Yes.
And that's not happening. And I think that's something that National Grid should really think about, because many times they leave the city, everybody's happy except the person that lives on that street, or the people that live on that street. And that's not right. We're on a mission, or we should be on a mission, to make sure that every street in this city is repaved properly and there's no sinking. I've got a street in front of my house, and Donnie Chamara did that. There's not a crack in it. It's great. I look at it every day. It hasn't sunk an eighth of an inch, not an eighth of an inch. And that's the way these streets should be in this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors? Okay. Roll call.
Shall the City Council grant the relief requested by National Grid? Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido is absent. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And President Pro Temp McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been approved. Calendar item number 11, hearing called is ordered by National Grid and Verizon to install one jointly owned pole on Walnut Avenue and one jointly owned pole in front of 37 Walnut Ave to serve as permanent electrical service for the building at 38 Walnut Avenue.
Proponents, please state your name and your address.
My name is Rafael Creguelen, representing National Grid, 170 Medford Street in Malden. This joint own is related to the same project. That's the point of source of the trenching.
Any counselors? Oh, any more proponents? I'm going to shut that side. Opponents? I'm going to shut that side. City councilors?
Madam President.
Councilor
I
Novoselsky?
was going to say, I'll yield to the question.
Councilor Zambudo?
No, I just said move the question.
Okay.
Councilor Zambudo?
Yeah, we've already gone through this, and I have no problem with it. And say roll call, please.
Okay, roll call.
Shall the City Council grant the relief requested by National Grid and Verizon? Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido is absent. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And President Pro Temp McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been granted. Calendar item number 12, hearing called is ordered on the application of Mass Electric, DBA National Grid, to construct a line of underground electrical conduits, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures under and across the public way and ways in accordance with the plan marked Sherman Street.
Proponents? State your name and address.
My name is Rafael Creguelen, representing National Grid, 170 Medford Street, Malden. In this case, we are proposing to relocate a pole because the project actually is not built, but when it's going to be built, it's not going to be meeting the clearances of OSHA and the NEC standards. So it's going to be a risk. So in that case, we are proposing to relocate that pole to the other side of the sidewalk.
Thank you. Proponents? Going to close that side. Opponents? Anybody opposed? Going to close that side. City councilors?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Madam,
Councilor Sereno?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Councilor
I
Sereno.
jumped on the ward council there. I apologize.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, through you to the members, I just wanted to say that this is having to do with the new development at the corner of Washington Ave and Sherman Street in Linden Square. And basically what happens now is the poles are on the side of Sherman Street where Walgreens is. And this obviously is on the other side of the street. So in order to accommodate the new development, they're proposing to move one of those poles to the other side, opposite of where Walgreens is. So I would ask your support on this item and the following item, which has to do with the same thing.
Thank you, Councilor. Roll call.
Shall the City Council grant the relief requested by National Grid? Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido is absent. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers? Yes. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And President Pro Tem McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been granted. Calendar item number 13, hearing called as ordered on a petition submitted by National Grid and Verizon to relocate one jointly owned pole on Sherman Street and relocate one jointly owned pole in front of 810 Washington Avenue to serve as the permanent electrical service for the building at 810 Washington Ave.
Proponents?
This is related to the same project.
Okay. Any other proponents? State your name and your address, please.
Matt DeLessio, with the general contractor, Stack & Co., 555 East 2nd Street, Boston. Just on the record as a proponent, if there are any questions.
Thank you. We're going to close that side. Opponents? We're going to close that side. City councilors? Roll call.
Shall the City Council grant the relief requested by National Grid and Verizon? Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido is absent. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers? Yes. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And President Pro Tem McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been granted. Hearing called as ordered by National Grid to excavate and construct a line of 2 4-inch underground electrical conduits beginning at the intersection of Beach Street and North Shore Road in accordance with Plan 308-51812.
Proponents?
Rafael Kerguelen, representing National Grid, 170 Medford Street. In this case, it's a building that is already built, so we want to trench from the existing pole 3299 in North Shore Road and crossing the street like with a 2 4-inch PVC conduit, encased conduit, and the project's gonna be installing a pad mount transformer, but it's gonna be inside the customer's property.
Thank you. Any other proponents? We're going to close that side. Opponents? We're going to close that side. City councilors?
Roll
Madam
call.
President, no roll call. Counselor, please.
Sorry.
Give us a break. This is my, my neighborhood, and I would like to speak on it, Counselor, if that's okay with you. Thank you.
Go right ahead, my friend.
Councilor Novoselsky?
This is a situation where North Shore Road was just repaved last year. And I have a grave concern where they're digging up from, across from the MGH parking lot in North Shore Road area, across the street to the new building. And I would put in addition to this, that this roadway, this section of roadway be completely repaved from curb to curb, from Beach Street up to Shirley Avenue by National Grid. And it's an important roadway. And I think National Grid should take 100% on our current ordinance within 5 years of digging up a road, because technically we don't have to approve this because of the 5-year ordinance. But I would go by it as long as National Grid agrees to repave that road curb to curb and corner to corner.
Unfortunately, I'm not the person who can say that. Yeah, but I can call you. I have your contact, and believe me, I can call you tomorrow. Yeah.
You know, I'm very concerned because I don't want a trench across a brand-new road.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Shall the City Council grant the relief requested by National Grid, subject to the condition that this section of street be repaved completely by National Grid from Beach Street to Shirley Avenue? Counselor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Morbido is absent. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Powers? Yes, Counselor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, and President Pro Temp McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been granted, subject to that condition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Communications. Calendar item number 15, communication from the city auditor requesting an appropriation to the Capital Improvement Stabilization Fund for Tidegate design and permitting in the amount of $128,970.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Richard Viskey, 281 Broadway, Revere. Come before you looking to get an appropriation for 25% of the value of a total project of $515,881 for inland and coastal flooding and urban mitigation at the Diamond Creek catchment area. We did receive a grant from the Mass EOEEA that does require a 25% match, and I guess there is some urgency to try to get this contract signed, so I am here before you to request leveraging some of the Capital Improvement Trust dollars to get this project underway with the grant that was awarded, and happy to answer any questions on that.
Councilors. Roll call.
Shall the City Council approve an appropriation in the amount of $128,970 from the Capital Improvement Stabilization Fund to the MVP Matching Grants Fund account? Counselor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Morbido is absent. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, and President Pro Temp McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the appropriation has been approved. Calendar item number 16, communication from the city auditor requesting an appropriation of the transportation network assessment in the amount of $91,728.70.
Thank you. You may see this once a year. This is the appropriation required by the Commonwealth for the money that we receive for rides that are generated within the city from Ubers and Lyft accounts. We do get 10 cents for each ride that originates in the city. And the total of that comes to $91,728.70. So just as a matter of law, they require this body to appropriate that money so that we can use it for traffic improvement, street work, et cetera. So happy to answer any questions on that.
Any questions, councilors? Roll call.
Pursuant to Chapter 187 of the Acts of 2016, shall the City Council approve an appropriation in the amount of $91,728.70 from the Transportation Fund to the Roadway Capital Fund? Counselor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Morbido is absent. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Sereno? Yes, Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, and President Pro Temp McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the appropriation has been approved. Calendar item number 17, communication from the city auditor requesting the establishment of the Substance Use Disorder and Homeless Initiatives gift account.
Thank you. Yes, there has been a few donations that are pending receipt to the city for use for substance use disorders and homeless initiatives. We currently do not have an avenue to accept those funds because it's a law that's required to be adopted by the council to accept those funds. So basically here to ask this body to approve the creation of this gift account so that we can accept these donations and put them to use for those initiatives. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Councilors? Roll call. Mark? Sorry. Counselor Silvestri?
Thank you, Madam President. Rich, is there, are we just voting to put the account in place? Like, have they decided where or the means of how they're going to use the funds? I know you said it can be used for substance abuse and homelessness, but like, are there going to be a directive such as like the veterans, we can pay for someone's rent or oil or heat? Or is it just going to be?
Well, there's a pending donation of $5,000 to help with the substance use disorder. I didn't put a fine point on the uses of that. I try to keep it broad so that it's a little flexible in the way it's used, but it's our job in the auditor's office to make sure that those funds are used for substance use disorders and homeless initiatives. So that, I guess it's overseen by the auditor's office. We're not going to allow them to use it for things other than what that purpose is. And, you know, if it wants to get a finer point to that, we could, you know, or if there's a different source of funds, we can always create a different account for something a little more specific. But we try to keep it broad so that when things come up, we don't have to always make a judgment and call on how those are used, as long as it's for the greater good.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors? Roll call.
Pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53A, shall the City Council approve the establishment of the Substance Use Disorder and Homeless Initiatives Gift Account? Counselor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Morabito is absent. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Visconti?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And President Pro Tem McKenna?
Yes.
Yes, the account has been established.
Thank you, everybody.
Motions, calendar item number 18, motion presented by Counselor Cogliandro, that the acting mayor direct the chief of police to have a patrol officer directing traffic between the hours of 2 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. at the intersections of Cushman Avenue and Broadway, and School Street and True Street.
Counselor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Madam President. It speaks for itself. I just feel like these kind of go nowhere now. We need more enforcement, especially during school pickup and drop off. We need speeding enforcement. I mean, I feel like we would have a lot more revenue if we started writing tickets. And it would certainly make a lot of people in the city feel safer knowing that we had enforcement. So that's all. Thank you.
Any other counselors? All in favor? All opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 19, motion presented by Counselor Morabito, that the acting mayor be requested to establish a water main break recovery grant program that offer grants to affected businesses and property owners who suffer financial material losses due to water main breaks. This will allow certain eligible businesses and property owners who sustain damage and losses not covered from their insurance to apply for funds of up to $5,000.
So I'd like to speak for Counselor Morabito. Counselor Morabito, by the way, is ill and could not make it tonight, and he had called me and he would like to put this in a legislative affairs. Thank you. All in favor? All opposed? Oh, roll call? Is it? You guys, you know, I don't feel good, so come on now.
Madam President?
All right. Oh, yes.
I know it's going to go to subcommittee. I think we should definitely put some more money, more than $5,000. Given what just happened to the Good Diner and to Hector's, I think we should consider making it more. I think this is a great motion by Councilor Morabito. So, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. All in favor? All opposed? So ordered. To legislative affairs.
Calendar item number 20, motion presented by Counselor Cogliandro, that the acting mayor direct the chief of police to again increase patrols on Eastern Avenue and True Street.
Counselor Cogliandro.
Yeah, speaks for itself, I hope. Thank you.
Any other counselors? All in favor? All opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 21, motion presented by Counselor Novoselsky, that the acting mayor request the Traffic Commission to hold a public hearing for the purpose of amending Schedule 4 of Title 10 to add a stop sign on Shirley Avenue eastbound at Thornton Street.
Counselor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, we're trying to slow down traffic in this city, and we're using stop signs to try and help that happen. So I'm getting a lot of complaints from residents and businesses on Shirley Ave in the upper end that cars are really flying down, and I've seen it myself. So we're going to ask for a stop sign there, and hopefully the traffic commission will allow it to happen. Thank you.
Any other councilors? So we're going to refer this to Traffic Commission. So this is adjournment. Tomorrow is Halloween.
Madam President? Oh,
Yes.
I was going to ask for a point of personal privilege, but I think someone was coming before me.
Okay, so who would like,
Who wants it first? I'll
go
take
ahead,
one.
Councilor Cogliandro.
Go ahead, take it.
I just, this is the last meeting that we're going to have before the election, and I just want to wish everybody the best of luck. It's been a long time. I feel like we've been waiting years for this election to be over. But I just, again, want to wish everybody luck, and I look forward to the future. Thank you.
Councilor Cogliandro, thank you. Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a public service announcement, I would think, but recently down in the Shirley Ave area, in the neighborhoods from Revere Beach Parkway to Beach Street, we've had a person doing graffiti and tagging everything. I mean, houses, mailboxes, sidewalks, anything they can tag. And some brand-new house was tagged last week. They were still in construction. They tagged the whole back of it. And I did talk to the police chief about it, and he said it has been going on for about a month. And he does ask anybody that has had their houses tagged with graffiti to make sure they file a police report and take pictures of the graffiti and send that to him at the Revere Police Department. There is a crew working on it, and they want to get as much evidence as possible to try and catch this perpetrator. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes, Madam President, this is just a request. I had submitted, along with Councilor Serino and actually Councilor Silvestri, a late motion. I don't think it's going to be controversial. I'm wondering if we can take up just this late motion today instead of have to wait 2 weeks. I don't know when the next traffic commission might be.
Yes, you have my permission.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I just like, do you want to read it, Madam Clerk, or would you?
Hold on, I didn't have it ready because, sorry, I did not get permission from the council.
Yeah, we just want to add Councilor Silvestri to this motion also.
Late motion presented by Councilors Rizzo, Serino, and Silvestri that the Traffic Commission determine an appropriate location for a crosswalk to be placed across from Pause and Play Dog Park on Sargent Street for the safety of the dogs and their owners utilizing the facility.
Councilor Rizzo?
Madam President, first of all, thank you for the latitude. I appreciate it. I know it's not an emergency motion per se, but given the number of people that use that dog park now, and as Councilor Cogliandro had alluded to earlier about the speeding vehicles throughout the city and basically the logjam of traffic that we're constantly being faced with, It would be, I think, a good idea to put a crosswalk appropriately placed down across from the dog park on Sergeant Street, the pause and play, and I don't think it's a heavy lift for anybody. I think it should be an easy thing to accomplish, and I'm hopeful that the Traffic Commission will accommodate us. Thank you.
Who else is on that motion? Councilor Sereno?
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just echo what Councilor Rizzo said, and the only urgency was to try to get it before the Traffic Commission for their November meeting, and that's why we wanted to take it up late tonight rather than wait till the 13th of November. But I will just say that I reached out to Julie DeMauro and Mr. Argenzio, and Julie is the Safe Streets Coordinator, and she's going to take a look at that intersection, see what can be done. So hopefully if we can get this before the Traffic Commission, and we can get Julie's expertise, and we can try to get something done over there. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Silvestri?
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Councilor Sereno and Rizzo, to add me to this motion. And I believe the urgency also takes place. This was sent to us by a concerned resident that goes to the park a lot, and she sent it out to us. So us putting this forward as fast as we did, I think it's commendable, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Zambudo?
Thank you, Madam President. I think this woman reached out to all of us. I had contacted the traffic coordinator, Julie DeMauro, and she told me that my colleagues had already been on top of this thing, and so she's doing her due diligence with there are specifics that you have to follow when you put crosswalks in, and you gotta follow these things to the letter of the law. But it looks like this will make that area safer, and that's what we need to do. So I don't need to be on the motion, but I feel like I was part of it anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. So tonight's meeting is adjourned. Does anybody else have anything to say before I stop this? Okay, I just want to say tomorrow is Halloween, wishing all the kids a safe and happy Halloween. Also, remember to exercise your right to vote on Tuesday, November 7th. Good luck to all the candidates. Thank you very much. Good night.
Roll call.